Hello. Good evening, world. This is Joscephine Gomez reciting from the Philippines. Actually, I was broadcasting, used to saying that when I go on air on television or on radio, but this is a poetry recital. So what I say? Reciting from the Philippines. Okay, let me introduce myself briefly. Although I'm a bit bashful about introducing myself. I'm used to other people introducing myself. So let me read to you my bio as if I were another person, because I'm uncomfortable saying I, my, okay? Okay, abridged bio of Joscephine Gomez. Known as the Philippines' modern Renaissance woman, Joscephine Gomez is the author and lecturer of 36 short courses in both verbal and non-verbal communication, language, speech, and voice. I'm a classical singer. I'm sorry, filmmaker, a visual artist, a print and broadcast journalist, a voice therapy and rehabilitation specialist, a language educator, book co-author, editor, and translator, and a multi-awarded poet whose works have been included in 15 international anthologies. She pioneered voice therapy and rehabilitation in the Philippines in 1995 as an allied medical practice and founded the country's first center for the treatment of voice disorders, transient disability, and vocal deficiency. In Joscephine Gomez Center for Voice Training and Wellness, she teaches voice for singing and speaking. In 1995, she founded the Corporate Mind Management Consultancy and Executive Training Company, a company that has trained hundreds of corporate executives, lawyers, doctors, professors, architects, and training and sales professionals. She's also a broadcast journalist who has hosted regular talk shows in 4 radio stations, DWB, RDZ, RDZ, XQ, DWSS, and in 1 TV station, Global News Network. In her youth, she worked as a reporter for the Economic Monitor and the Business Day, now known as the Business World. She has written feature articles in almost all established newspapers and magazines in the Philippines. And she was a music performance critic of the Daily Express and ran a medical column for a miscellaneous magazine in the 90s and a community newspaper more recently. Okay, just to remind my listeners, I'm not using I and my, I'm using she. I'm reading my biodata as if I was another person. Okay, so from 1980 to 1994, she ran a public relations practice, put up and ran her own PR and advertising firm, Quasar Public Relations and Advertising, a small company that did big things. As head of Quasar PR, she conceptualized and ran an intensive tri-media campaign for the National Awareness Campaign on Hepatitis B for clients Smith Klein in French, and concurrently as executive director of the Philippine Foundation for AIDS Prevention and Research. She ran the National Awareness Campaign on AIDS. And that was from 1988 to 1990. In 1999, she started the Continuing Awareness Campaign on Retinoblastoma. That's a child cancer. As a language educator, she was director of the Daiichi Language Academy, taught English, Japanese, and Filipino. Taught English and Japanese in ICAL, Intensive Creative Lernen Communications Training Center, then the largest communications institute in Europe. In 2017, she was head of the Language and Communication Department of PMTC Ngagyurningma Institute of Higher Buddhist Studies, the world's largest monastic university in 2017. That's in India. Joscephine Gomez has edited 5 books that include Facing Cancer, published by the Philippine Oncology Society, and a Dharma book recently launched in India. She directed the films Delirium at Twilight and Gong and many musical productions. A multi-awarded visual artist, she has had 6 successful solo exhibits, has been included in 7 international virtual exhibitions and 58 group shows in the Philippines. As a solo classical concert singer singing in 10 languages, she has given around 50 concerts, solo concerts, and around 500 performances locally and internationally. She is the first Filipino classical singer to give solo performances in Russia, Brunei Darussalam, and in Israel. She represented the Philippines in the first International Music Festival in Krasnoyarsk, Russia, where she performed in 3 concerts. The Renaissance woman studied 10 languages and speaks 6 of them fluently. In November 2022, she founded the International Group's Principled Writers Group and the World Fine Arts Society, which she actively runs as president and chief administrator. Joscephine Gomez, that's me, is the Philippines' longest cancer survivor. Okay, and that's my abridged version, my friends. Abridged meaning shortened. Okay, so let me now go into my 4-part presentation. In the first part, I'm going to read poems that relate to my childhood. Okay, and the first one is titled, let me see, excuse me, I'm using 2 cell phones. So please excuse me, and I don't have any assistant. All right, my first poem is titled Celebrating Life Daily. Storms and life's battles fought. Just a minute, let me fix my mic. Do I sound better now? I hope so. All right, let me see. Okay, let me go to my first poem. That's titled Celebrating Life Daily. I repeat, Celebrating Life Daily. Storms and life's battles fought alone are like unkind strangers at a party outside home. Not leaving unturned any stone, working hard and smart to the bone. Honors received were reasons to celebrate, giving many concerts, many plays to date. I studied Italian, French, and Mandarin, seeing life as an international party I'm attending. Many have been coming to me for training. A natural-born teacher, I enjoyed mentoring, my students excelling and even me surpassing. Were to me causes for celebrating. On my day of birth, I wanted to celebrate. At an Indian restaurant, I had reserved the date. Favorite friends whose support I've always felt had wanted with me on my special birth date. A time for bonding, good conversations till late, but distance and sickness took us pate. On this blessed day, I wanted a party, but circumstances cruel cut my liberty. Diagnosed at age 2 for stage 3 cancer, living till now free from cancer. On my day of birth, I wanted to celebrate. In my isolation, friends could only commiserate. Considering how much I had wanted to celebrate, one would think I'm so unfortunate. But if we see my life extraordinary, life is a party. With me, you'll agree. Okay, now I'll go to my next poem, which has to do with my very beautiful relationship with my father. You will know from this poem how close I was with my father. Father's Day without you. My heart cried out loud, no voice came out. Will it matter if I spoke of my pain and grief? I'm sorry, of my deep pain and grief. He who should know is gone, and no sorrow compares with what I feel, which knows no tomorrow. The man from whence I come breathes no more, is gone. No more papa to hear my woes and honors won. He loved me with a love that was seen and felt. He raised me with much thought and spared me the belt. At age 4, I learned my first song. As church service ended, I'd race to the front to beat as people sang, Onward, Christian Soldiers. At age 5, I could read the big book by Ellen G. White And he trained me in math that seventh graders I could beat. He wished I'd be a lawyer. Law books for me he bought so I could at age 12 read them. I loved the books, loved him in turn. A super child he honed me to be, oblivious of what was lacking in me. Bearing no shame nor inferiority, one eye covered, mattered not to me. He made sure of my garnering at the end of each school year a gold medal for excellence, beating classmates, cousins, and friends. Of me he was proud. He called me his pride, his most brilliant daughter. Of the 20 I knew he fathered, although bright all of them are. He raised me with an iron fist, shielded me from pain and shame, strict in every way he could, made sure I was home when lights came. His love was extraordinary. I was in his arms when necessary, like when I was sick of asthma and from labored breathing weary. Papa, today, happy Father's Day. Although you may not hear me, I greet you the same fondly. I pray you're having a smooth journey. Okay, just an aside. I had planned this recital for December 2, but for some reasons, I had to put it off to December 9. December 2 is the anniversary of the surgery which saved my life. I was 2 years old then, and I was given 5 years to live. And after that 5 years, I was given another 10 years to live. And my doctor was unsure if I would really live because retinoblastoma is really one kind of cancer with very high mortality rate, and usually children die at the age of 6, getting blind completely first. But I'm so blessed that I didn't get blind completely, and I actually am living life very productively. Well, surgery drama number 6. This happened many years ago. An hour before any doctor comes, I call the operating room to ask, are the Mozart CDs and the CD player already there? My surgeon loves Mozart. I want him relaxed. The resident doctor comes in, checks vital signs, injects mild sedative, checks colors on nails of hands and feet, cleanses my facial skin with downward movements. No, doctor, not like that. Movements must be upward and outward so my face doesn't sag fast. She reassures, comforts me. I feel she's more anxious than me. The double door of my room opens. I'm wheeled out and later into the big room with bright lights that somehow give me the feeling I have before giving a concert. That smell of antiseptic, the familiar cold aircon that gets colder with anesthesia. I demand that Mozart be played. I hear my surgeon complaining of oversized gloves. He is a size 5, but he was given a size 7. I question, why not general anesthesia, doc? He replied, you can manage, Joe, he said. It was to be a 2-hour surgery. Surgical wires from an old reconstructive surgery would finally be removed. Pus was already coming up. Wires were jutting out of my skin, reducing the potency of anesthetics. More anesthesia, doctor. More, I pleaded, and more I received. I hear hammering. I feel some pulling. I imagine wires being plucked out by pliers, pinned by pliers. I imagine them breaking at some point. I think, what if one wire breaks midway, living half embedded? Will the team dig deeper into my skull? There were moments of silence when the work at hand proved challenging. Prayers were my shield. Then I asked the team to use 2. So I led them in prayer aloud many times. I feel pain. More anesthesia, please. I get bored. I asked if the facial curtain could be removed, if I could have a handheld mirror to see what and how they were doing. My surgeon refused. It is not done. Why not, I asked myself. If I were brave enough to go through surgery with only a regional block, why can't I be brave enough to watch them work? It is now over. All surgical wires are removed. For blood clotting, epinephrine, which caused me to hyperventilate. Time to be brought up to my room. It meant going through hallways where people pass. People who watch me perform and see me on TV can't see me like this. I asked for a sheet to fully cover my face. In the elevator, a doctor asked, "Why? A cadaver can't be brought up." "She is vain," was my resident's reply. In my room alone, I continued to hyperventilate. Nurse suggested an oxygen tank be ordered. I asked how much, and upon hearing the cost, I said firmly, "No, I will just do deep breathing." And I breathe until now as I prepare for surgery number 12. So I wrote this before surgery number 12. Okay, so these three are what I call autobiographical poems. So now I'll go to my Dharma poems. Okay, my first poem is titled Preparing for Next Lifetime. If you think this lifetime is very short, study truths with which you fear you can abort. Understanding for what this lifetime is meant can lead you to liberation and enlightenment. Countless times we have crossed samsara, battling with ego and proddings of Mara, living with consciousness molded from the past, dealing with vexations that leave you aghast. We deal with life's challenges and brevity, always remembering the pull of karma like gravity, planting good seeds and reaping what we sow, a life well-oiled and planned for tomorrow. Mindful of tolerance and genuine compassion, the kind that allow you to fulfill life's mission, immersing in Dharma study and meditation, offering merits from good deeds with devotion. Life is too short, you'd think in the end. Just when you come to the bottomless bend, to the boundless bend. But if you prepare well for the end of mortal life, even this lifetime won't be much of a strife. Now, my next poem. Oh, by the way, may I ask Prasanna? You can answer me in chat. May I take an hour? Or we can't? Can you answer me in chat, please? Prasanna? Okay, yes. Okay, so I'll take an hour. So let me, okay, so now I'll go to my, wait a minute. I'll go to my next poem, The Path You Choose. Is it a path of tolerance and compassion, leading to ultimate wisdom? Is it a path of study, twinned with practice, one not without the other? Has it made you a better person, able to see your fellow man as one with you, with the same inherent Buddha potential? Does your path aim at perfecting compassion, concentration, morality, patience, diligence, and generosity, preparing you for eternity? Is it a path that leads you out of suffering by ridding you of afflictive emotions, the kleshas, anger, lust, pride, attachment, above all, ignorance, the root? Does it train and purify the mind? Does it make you leave the past behind? Does it make you dwell in the present and the future is yet to come, as the future is yet to come? Does it let you thwart duality, have disdain for conceptuality, see reality as it is, not how you think it to be? Does your path prepare you for your smooth departure from this life, making firm your goodbye to samsara? Is ultimate enlightenment its goal? So that's my poem, The Path You Choose. And this is the second of my three poems, my three Dharma poems. Dharma means philosophical, spiritual. Now my third Dharma poem, Attachment Leads to Suffering. You must open your mind to new ideas. Attachment leads to suffering. This is written in the form of a chant. Craving for food, though it be wrong, attachment leads to suffering. Aversions lead to dislike, then hatred. Attachment leads to suffering. Vices wreak havoc to the body. Attachment leads to suffering. Living in a dangerous place. Attachment leads to suffering. Having a desire for pleasures. Attachment leads to suffering. Living a life unspiritual. Attachment leads to suffering. Having no confidence, feeling small. Attachment leads to suffering. Loving, believing it is forever. Attachment leads to suffering. Clinging on to toxic relationships. Attachment leads to suffering. Nothing in this world ever stays the same. Attachment leads to suffering. Let me just fix my mic. Okay, do I sound better, Prasanna? All right. So my next poem, okay, that's the third of my Dharma poems. Now, my third classification, or the third part of my presentation, is on poems, features poems on social issues. So my first one is Kids Must Be Kids. So this talks about child slavery or child labor, which is banned in many countries, but which continues to proliferate in the Philippines, in India, in Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, maybe. Very bad. Kids must be kids. Etched on your faces are young lines and creases from hard labor forced on you by pitiful circumstances, stealing from you the fun from play and the protective care due young kids like you. Let me replace your shovels and rakes with books to train your minds and toys to create stories with, all part of growing up normally. Rest momentarily from your labor and feel the tender caresses and the hugs you so miss from parents unable to be the kind they ought to be. Let me bring you each a McDo meal with a toy and a huge ice cream float to make you smile that has left your faces, the childish smile that has left your faces as you toil from dawn to dusk, to bring your family some money for famished younger siblings and perhaps a nursing mother. I won't ask where your fathers are, and meeting them, I might give them a tongue lashing or report them to authorities for child abuse. Let me cleanse your baby skin of grime and grease, douse you with baby cologne, make you feel you are not alone. My second poem for the third part is titled Respect Your Woman, which I actually also wrote in Spanish. What can you men do that she cannot? Ride horses, perform surgery, engage in martial arts, travel in space, build houses, fly planes, head government, direct films, climb mountains. Don't be deceived by her sweetness and allure. Inside, she may be principled, with a mind pure. Don't mistake her sweet smile and fragile figure for compliance to whatever evil you may conjure. A woman's will can be made of steel. Her talents and capabilities may be your life scale. If of high attainment in education she be, the more she can keep you pleasant company. A woman must never be had by force. Woo her gently, with manners never be coarse. Love is the key that could open her heart. Respect must be there, even from the start. A woman has the power to change your life's course. Don't hurt nor abuse her. She's not your horse. Handle her gently, though supporting her completely. Respect her. Treat her with you equally. Love and honor her. Obey her if you must. Don't just see her as object of your lust. Give to her all benefits that are just. Respect her, value her like gold that doesn't rust. Obviously, my friends, you know that this poem is about gender equality and respect for women. Okay, now my next poem is on sexual harassment. Like there have been stories here in the Philippines recently about gays, especially in show business, harassing young men, young boys who'd like to become famous as stars, and the young boys could not say no. They got scared of this gays. Okay, so the title is For You Fat Gay Snake. What does it profit a man to preserve his ego and lose his mind? Where like sanity when giving vent to anger, envy, jealousy. Does someone else's pain, does someone else's pain cause you joy? Is standing up for what is right not in your paradigm? Does the stench of bad deeds attract you, who sound moralizing, when in fact you have caused your student to abhor you, whip you with words, bringing you down to tears, a young man needing respect, you ignored for your pleasure, running your palms on his thighs. Without warning, how cunning, how deceitful, how manipulative. In class, you called him weak, unable to express feelings of any sort. Couldn't it be? By your machinations after class, in his car, you air out to him your jealousy of anyone who gets close to him. Your recent ranting, speaking ill of innocent me, couldn't they be vendetta for the hurt you felt? Seeing him with me, forgetting I could just be his mother, whom he tells gory details of your fingers meandering. Wake up, fat gay snake! Know that you reap what you sow. The knowledge in acting and writing, you know, must not for a crime be used to lead others astray. Share your negative karma. With them you must not, for lies carry a penalty worse than death itself. As you live, you shall see the aftermath of your folly. With aching of tongue and gnashing of teeth, find your paradise in hell, even as you live. And this is actually dedicated to film director who teaches acting, and one of my classmates in acting told me about all these, so I wrote a poem on it. Okay, my last group of poems is about love. Okay, I'll recite 5 poems to you about love. The title of my first poem is If You Call Me Sweetheart. Calling me sweetheart will open the skies. They will be like floodgates of joys, not cries. If you call me sweetheart, my heart's door will open. Its hardness will end, for all it will soften. If you call me sweetheart, will we never part? Will your love be greater than it was at the start? Will you come quickly to my side when I call? Will you always lift me up, save me from a fall? If you call me sweetheart, know that you must be faithful and loyal to no one but me. Calling me sweetheart is a privilege to you I give, for it is in you I have trust and you I believe. If you call me sweetheart, you must always take care of my heart, strong but fragile when mishandled, some care. Know that your woman is a human rare, one who meditates and engages in prayer. Anyway, that's not so rare in India, where I know that many women meditate and pray a lot. Okay, so my next poem, excuse me, I'm off cam. Okay, my next poem is titled A Vow of Love. Just a minute. How I touched a baby at sleep, such tenderness and caring getting deep. This exclusive love, all yours to keep, is the harvest you can now reap. For time spent with me, all efforts sown will never by the wind be blown. For them you've won my faithful heart and earned my promise, we shall never part. Okay, let me go to next poem. I'm sorry, just a minute. Just a minute. Okay, this is a very profound poem. I don't know if many of you will be able to relate with me, but try to figure out what I mean in these lines. The title is Loving on the Relative Absolute Plane. You know, in Buddhism, we are taught that there are two kinds of truths, the relative truth and the absolute truth. So I titled this Relative Absolute, meaning to say there's some kind of absoluteness at the same time, some kind of relativeness in this poem. The title is Loving on the Relative Absolute Plane. As the words and music that make up plaisir d'amour fill my being, as I listen to only love, my being is transported by the voice of Nana Muscuri to a place where my clear mind meets you in pleasant reverie. We relive golden moments past of mutual fondness, mutual respect, no mention of feelings, no breaking sacred vows. Being with you, talking, dining, learning things of value, sharing things we knew that help each other grow, some knowledge for healing of chronic pains, a thorn in the flesh. Things you did, things you gave, tangible and intangible, gifts you gave, food you prepared, memorable signs of your love, the very words, deep feelings kept within and locked within our beings. We both thought best, so we'll even be more blessed. All I did, all I said, not all I could, weren't enough. Keeping the greater part, not showing, not saying them all, meant a practice of patience, of mindfulness, a sacrifice I didn't mind in exchange for the blessings we would later find. Now, years after, I ask, how do you feel? Have you no regrets? Wouldn't you have wanted to still have me around? Speak of the feelings you hid. Hug me long once and let go. Don't you also miss me so? Okay, for the information of my listener, I am I have taken my vows as a tantric in Tibetan Buddhism. This means a vow of celibacy, a vow of morality, of modesty in dressing and speech, in everything. It is like a preparation for a nun's vows. So you know my secret. Okay, so I'm a Genyan, and as such, I don't show legs, I don't show cleavage, and I cannot have a boyfriend, and I won't get married. Okay, just a moment. Okay, here is my next poem. Trust me with your love. Loving you is not for the poor in love. There's much in you from above. She who sees not your value can't afford to give love due you. She who doesn't have enough of love won't have much love to give. You who have enough love in your heart will always end up getting hurt. What can you expect from one like her, who doesn't feel what is felt by another? What can you gain loving her but sorrows and love's dying ember? In her arms, you won't feel the spark you've always longed to feel. With her, moments spent are a waste. Just come to me, make haste. Loving is for the richly blessed in heart, not for her who thinks of self from the start. You who know how to give love deserve to be loved in return. Trust me with your love. Trust I won't hurt you the way she did. Trust me with your love, and you'll have great love in return. Okay, I'm now ready for my next poem. Just a minute. Okay, just a minute, please. I hope you are not disturbed by the background music, actually, which comes from a restaurant, a bar nearby. Um, just a minute, please. Okay, while you're waiting, my friends, let me tell you that I grew up with one eye covered, but it never actually bothered me. I just did what I had to do and competed when I needed to compete, and I did everything that I wanted, auditioned for plays and appeared in plays in major roles. And then I applied for positions that usually required um, a pleasing personality, but it was not a problem. Actually, I applied only a few times. Very often, I was offered jobs, and that's my good fortune in life. The only places I applied to were the newspaper companies I worked with, because you'd have to pass editorial exams and you'd have to actually uh, pass very difficult tests and IQ tests and a very thorough interview before you're accepted as a reporter. And in all other companies, I was just offered. Okay, my last poem is titled Winter Me. Have you heard the song Summer Me, Winter Me, composed by Michel Legrand and performed, rather recorded by Barbara Streisand? Okay, it's a beautiful song, very poetic. So I took my cue from that uh, song. I mean, I was inspired by the song. So let me read to you my poem titled Winter Me. Barbara Streisand sings Summer Me, Winter Me by Michel Legrand, a composer of French ancestry, who writes music with much sensitivity that makes one swoon and want to express similarly. As Barbara sings, I feel more winter me, as I immerse myself in thoughts of you solely, and wish you were here to warm cold me, as we speak without words, oh so silently. Winter me with your blanket of affection, warm me with your gaze devoid of deception. Cuddle me like a baby needing a mother's touch. I know that is not wishing too much. Winter me with gifts I would cherish, books to read of things I relish. Buy me sweets to add to my body heat. But don't buy me socks and anything for the feet. Winter me as you make me feel wanted. Assure me only for the right things I needed. A woman loved will be there when you call, in summer, winter, spring, or fall. Winter me, whether I'm far or near. Protect me from harm. Don't ever let me fear. Winter me, show me to you I'm dear. Winter me, all seasons of the year. And that ends my presentation. Friends, you might have some questions. So let me see if there are any questions on chat. Oh, there are no questions. Actually, I don't know how many people are listening, but anyway, this is recorded and it will be uploaded on YouTube. So it's all right. Doesn't matter if there are 200 of you listening. But I wish all of you well the rest of the day, the rest of the evening. I wish you happy times in this Christmas season. And well, I pray that you will be even more blessed this coming new year. So that ends my presentation, ladies and gentlemen. Good night.